I'm the Bunnyman.
And I'm Crazy Susie.
And we are in the Eyes of Terror.
Yes, and today we're going to be talking about a very special movie. It is Satan's Little Helper.
But before we get started with that, you might have wondered, what happened to us? I thought you guys were doing 13 Nights of Halloween or horror or terror, whatever you want to call it. And yes, we are. But things happen. Crazy Susie's been sick. Our dog has been very fussy.
Luna had to go to the vet today, so hopefully she won't be too upset about that because she wasn't very happy when we came home. But we are continuing on, and this is number 3?
4. 3, yes, 3. Because we did Boo, we've done Boo, we've done Murder Party.
Yeah.
Which are both up on our iTunes. I'm actually uploading them to YouTube because I found something out interesting, if you're wondering. So, I found out because of the service that we have, because we're using it for free, and it only shows our only 10 episodes until we pay or migrate.
Okay.
Well, we don't have the money to migrate to a different service or pay for the service that we already have to show everything. So what's happening is that we have to use YouTube and VidMe, and we're trying to get verified through VidMe, but that takes time. And so everything that we've done, except for the Terror News, will be up on YouTube. And the only reason why I say the Terror News is not going to be up there is just, I mean, it's outdated.
Right, after that week, the information's outdated, so.
And so we'll just upload stuff. It's not going to be anything special, but until we are able to get the money, and I think that's going to be a sort of its own special announcement on, I guess, you guys helping us to some extent, although I'm pretty sure everybody's sick and tired of hearing about that by now. We're trying different things, so.
Well, okay, the movies that we chose for October's 13 are movies that we like, and some of our favorites, obviously, because this is my favorite month. We love Halloween, and like I've said before, Halloween for us doesn't end in October. We carry it on through December and November. Well, horror itself doesn't end for us because we watch horror-related movies all year round. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day, every holiday-related horror flick we watch.
We watch, horror every 365 days. We watch.
We saturate our life with it. That's what we do. And people think we're strange, but that's okay. It takes all kinds.
Well, we think that other people are strange, so.
Yeah, well, it takes all kinds.
Yeah.
So, moving on, we're going to talk about our film first. It is on Shudder. And you can actually they do have a free trial right now on Shudder.com. And their memberships are very reasonable. We actually have our membership through our Amazon account. But you do not have to have an Amazon Prime account to get a Shudder account. And I just want to make this explicitly clear, we are not sponsored by them. Unfortunately, maybe we will be in the future, but we are not currently sponsored by them.
And if you are Shudder or you know somebody of Shudder, bring us up. I
mean, we watch 90% of the movies that we talk about and the movies that we do mention and we watch are from Shudder. Mm-hmm. So we use their source very often. And right now, like I said, they do have a free trial. Their annual membership is $3.99 a month, which breaks down to $47.88 a year. I'm not sure if they give you both of those options to pay, but that's how they list it on their website. So they may give you both options, whether you can make the payments monthly or just pay the flat fee.
Yeah.
They had both prices listed, so I would assume they would give you either option. The monthly membership fee is $4.99 a month. They did not have it broken down into the yearly fee, but that comes up to $59.88 a year. So if you do the annual membership, you do save almost $10. So
And,
you get quite a bit of savings there. But considering that they have a ton of cult films and a lot of movies that you wouldn't find anywhere else.
Well, in TV series, they have the entire Tales from the Dark Side on there.
Right.
You know, and
They have films that you're not going to find anywhere else. They're not on Netflix. They're not on Amazon.
Well, they actually do their own film set too. They actually do.
They have originals.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a really good thing. But I mean,
they are on Amazon, but they're on Amazon Shudder.
Yeah.
Shudder has partnered with Amazon, so Shudder is offered on Amazon for their additional fee. Yeah. So something to consider if you're a big horror buff like we are. It'll keep you from having to go out and buy extra movies or whatever, and you could, watch the movie.
Not even just that, but I mean
watch the movie and decide if it's worth getting the hard copy. That's what we do. Anyway, just a suggestion.
So our movie again tonight is Satan's Little Helper.
Yes, and it came out May the 6th of 2004. It is a low-budget film. Big surprise there. No, not really. It is rated R. It's an hour and 36 minutes long. It's a horror comedy. And like I said, we watched it on Amazon Prime through our Shudder account.
And the way that I found this, because I found this and you found it through me, was I found this in a...
Yes, we know you are the great god of finding horrible movies. That's why I married you.
Yeah, okay.
Just one of the reasons.
I found this actually flipping through a magazine, like a horror magazine, because no one's ever heard of it before. I have never, until I found it on that, I never heard of it. And so, I mean, this is a very little known film that I know, of.
I love it. It's got a lot of mixed reviews, but it's one that I actually find quite awesome. IMDb's score is 5.3 out of 10, which is actually on the higher side compared to some of the others that we've done.
Yeah.
Most of them are in the 4-point-something range, and this is middle of the row, so it's even higher than some of the others.
But sometimes I wonder if it's not because of the smaller sample size.
I don't know. And the director is Jeff Lieberman. It was filmed around New York and the coast of Maine and was premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival. It was direct to DVD release on October 4th of 2005, and it was also listed on the Rolling Stone's 13 terrifying horror movies you can't unsee. I want to see that list because
actually, I looked at it.
Those other movies that are on there, I have to watch.
Actually, it was more of a snarky review, and they were pointing out like parts that you can't unsee, such as the scene with him fiddling with melons.
Oh.
Okay.
So it was just a crack. It wasn't actually serious. Well, that's no fun. So, anyway, that was a total waste of my time.
Yeah.
And the characters are Alexander Brickle plays Douglas Woolley. The names that came up for these people, Woolley. There's a lot of Woolies in here.
It's a woolly film.
Woolley. And they're not of any kind of Asian descent, which you would think Woolley would be, but that's just who they're...
They're just a bit woolly.
That's the name they came up with,
Woolley. They're just...
Catherine Winnick is Jenna Woolley. Stephen Graham is Alex. Amanda Plummer is Muriel Woolley. Wes Stevens is Dean Woolley. Dan Ziske is Vernon. Melissa McGregor is Nicole. Joshua Annex is Satan Man. I just did their primary cast. I didn't go through the entire cast. There's way more cast members than that. If you want to, you can go on IMDb and look at every single one of them, or pull up the movie and look at the whole cast and crew. There's a ton of them. Nobody got time for that. Okay. Let me go back and we will look at the synopsis of the movie and then we'll get into this. So the basic storyline is, during Halloween, theater student Jenna Woolley returns to Belle Island to spend the holiday with her family and her boyfriend, Alex Martin, a classmate of hers who was also raised on the island. Her younger brother, Douglas, Dougie Woolley, is very attached to Jenna and is fascinated with the video game Satan's Little Helper, and he becomes jealous with the presence of Alex. He leaves home wearing his costume of Satan's Little Helper, seeking Satan himself on the streets, so he can ask him to kill Alex. Dougie meets a serial killer who, coincidentally, is wearing a costume of Satan and decides to help him. He brings the insane murderer home, and Jenna and her mother, Meryl Woolley, believe that the masked killer is Alex, acting as Satan, to please Dougie. Later, the boy walks with the maniac along the streets, helping him to terrorize the locals. So that is the basic gist. And we'll get into the finite details of the movie. You know me, I like to nitpick and break everything down. Eventually, Bunny Man might break me of that habit. Some movies I can't do that with, and it bothers me. But
What, you don't want to break down Manos, The Hands of Fate?
oh my God, I'll let you do that.
Wait till we get into the really bad stuff, like Deathbed, the bed that eats.
How detailed can you get when the lady laid in the bed, then the bed went much, 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 and it made a gurgling sound and the woman disappeared?
Well, you just ruined our entire review for Deathbed, the bed that eats.
The title says it all. You go into the room, you lay on the bed, you're dead.
Alright, returning back to Satan's Little Helper.
Getting back to Satan's Little Helper, the movie starts out with a video game of Satan killing people. So it starts out with the actual Satan's Little Helper video game. You see it on the screen.
Well, and it's so, during the, it's 2005, so palm pads were still a thing. And this one looks like to give you an idea, this is not a good video game. Just
because the movie was produced in 2005, it doesn't look like it was made to be in 2005. Yeah. It looks like it was made to be in 1997 or something.
Yeah.
Way before 2005.
Well, either way, he has a palm pad
yes, which looks like it has 1D characters in it.
It looks like a cheap Flash animation game.
Yeah. So, the little boy that's playing the game is dressed in a costume like Satan and shouting out 50 points, 100 points, while his mother is driving down the road and his mother is talking on the phone.
Which is, I forgot how our hands-free sets were back then.
Yeah, it was pretty awkward. They are headed to pick up his sister from the ferry port. He says, when Jenna takes him trick-or-treating, he is going to find Satan, and he will be Satan's little helper. She introduces her friend Alex to her mother and brother, and Dougie is not happy because he wants to marry Jenna.
His sister.
The mother thinks this is cute and encourages this behavior.
Yeah.
This is strange.
Okay, so everything up to this point is also just, I'm just going to say it's strange because she's encouraging this going searching up for Satan, of being his little helper, and then the whole, I'm going to marry my sister.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so...
This family is...
little cuckoo.
Kind of strange. Okay. So Dougie isn't happy because Jenna brought a friend home. So they drive home and get ready to go trick-or-treating. Dougie runs off. So when they get home, Dougie runs off to find Satan. They go inside the house, and her mother asks if they would like what they're going to dress up for Halloween. Jenna says they racked their brains, but they hadn't figured out what they were going to what costumes they were going to dress up as. So her mother says she can go as what she used last year.
Well, mind you, but before that, they're theater students.
Right.
They're racking their brain to figure out what costume they want, and they're theater students.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they must not be that creative.
Yeah. So the mother tells Jenna that she can use her costume, meaning the mother's costume that she used last year. And evidently it was very risque. And Dougie finds Satan and decides to help him. So Jenna gets into her mother's costume, and it's quite revealing. The girls get aired out, is all I'm going to say.
They're a nice set, though. They're a nice set.
The girls are getting aired out. And Satan kills a woman and poses her on the front porch. He stands back to admire his work and then walks away. Dougie follows him.
Well, okay, so Satan there is just chilling on a front porch with a guy. Just,
No, he had murdered a woman and he was posing her on a front porch.
Well, and then there's a guy that he also murdered in the front lawn.
No.
Yeah.
First, he murdered the woman and Dougie was kind of behind a bush watching him pose this woman on the front porch.
Yeah.
And then he followed him without him knowing it to the next location, and he murdered a guy.
Okay.
And posed him on the front lawn, dug a hole, put dirt on the dude's chest, put flowers in the dirt on the dude's chest, and then he said something and got his attention.
Yeah. But you don't actually see the murders.
He thinks it's all a show. He doesn't realize it's for real.
Yeah, and he's sitting there with his mouth gaped open. He's like, that's so cool. Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's a kid that's desensitized by all the video games and junk his parents feed him. And Alex decides to dress as Satan for Halloween to get on Dougie's good side.
Well, but before they even go to the thing, wasn't there the news clip?
I've not gotten that far.
Okay.
There you go again, trying to jump ahead.
Yeah.
So Satan kills another person and poses them in the front yard. But this time, he catches Dougie looking at him. And Dougie asks him if he can be his helper. Dougie asks Satan if he could kill Alex so he can go trick-or-treating with his sister. When the mother goes to get mugs for cider, you see Dougie and Satan outside in the yard. They go into the house through the cellar door. Dougie asks Satan if he is wearing a costume, so no one knows who he is. He nods yes. He says, "Can I see?" and reaches for his masks. Satan grabs his hand and moves it away.
And basically motions no. So here's this kid. He's never met anybody. He's never met the Satan character before, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you just come on over into my cellar, which you can make it to hell?"
Yeah.
He's like showing him around the house. Basically, he's like, "Just come on in."
Mm-mm. Well, he's a little kid, and So Dougie leaves Satan down in hell, which he calls his cellar hell, and goes upstairs. His mother hollers for him to come upstairs. So Alex tells Dougie his plan to dress as Satan. So Dougie tells Satan about their plan, the Satan. And they go off to the costume store. And they go into the costume store and Satan follows. Dougie sees Satan and tells him to get Alex. Satan points to the alley. So Dougie walks Alex over to the alley and Satan jumps him and smashes his head into the building and carries Alex to an abandoned house and sits him on the couch.
Okay, so let's take a second and talk about Alex's Satan.
Yeah, Alex has issues with his father. So his version of Satan was a mask that reminded him of his dad.
It's like an old man mask.
It was a very bulbous mask, a bulbous head that was balding, and he put a toupee over it because his father was balding and wore a toupee and actually owned a toupee shop. So that was his version of Satan.
Yeah. And then he was like, rah, 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 rah. Just like, dude, just like chill out with the whole, like, we get it, you have daddy issues.
Yeah.
And you're a theater major. You could put those two together. I'm not. And that's all you really talked about was his dad issues, like, the entire time.
So he had some issues. Well, after Satan bashed his head into the concrete building, he drags him over to this abandoned house that had a couch on the front porch. Puts him up on this couch and props him up like he's just sitting there having a nap. And this cat jumps up there. He takes the cat, smashes its head into the house, the windows of the house were boarded up.
It looked like it was like there was fire damage.
Well, whatever. The house was abandoned. The windows of the house were boarded up. So where the front window was boarded up, right by where the couch was, he smashed the cat's head into the window where it was boarded. And then he started writing with the cat's blood, like taking the cat's body and just writing with it. And he wrote "boo" with the cat's blood. Yeah. And then dropped it.
He picked up the cat and just smashed it right into the... Yeah. I mean, it was pretty cool, actually. But, he just like, BAM! And wrote "boo."
And right after this, within seconds, there was you heard a lady say something, "Excuse me, sir." And she comes walking up the sidewalk. "Can you pose for a picture?" And the dude in this Satan mask, the Satan outfit he was wearing was pretty awesome anyway. I mean, it was kind of a cheesy Satan outfit. And it was one of those latex masks that show no emotion. I mean, it's a set mask. But...
And it's constantly smiling. It has this huge, like, grin on it. It's
cheesy, teeth-showing grin. But, so he kind of leans over to where Alex is and kind of puts his arm around him. And he's got that cheesy grin on. And he was just like kind of bouncing his hips back and forth like he's dancing or something. And she takes the picture and she goes, "Oh, you made our day. Thank you so much." And he was probably thinking, "Yeah, you stupid lady, I ought to kill, whatever."
But, I mean, she didn't even watch him kill the cat, she's just whatever. Their own, like, half the people in this movie are in their own little universes.
Yeah, they're not paying attention to anything and not realizing, oh, well, that's a dead body and that cat died and that's real blood, and they're in their own world. Okay. Dougie goes home and Satan follows. His sister and mother assume Satan is Alex. Dougie tries to explain that he is not Alex. Dougie and Satan go upstairs and play with action figures. Dougie shows Satan how good he is at playing Satan's Little Helper game. The doorbell keeps ringing and it starts to annoy Satan. Jenna asks if Dougie and Satan will go buy candy for her. Dougie asks Satan where he put Alex. Could he see? Satan shook his head no. Dougie says, okay.
Well, so, like, Satan is getting, like, freaked out. He's not really... he's, like, getting freaked out by the doorbell. And Dougie keeps asking him, like, is it Jesus? Could it be Jesus? Is that what you're afraid of? Is Jesus? Could he come as a trick-or-treater? Could Jesus come as a trick-or-treater? It's like, dude, seriously. Stop, number one, with the Jesus thing. But it's like, it seems like shaking his head. But he's just, like, freaked out by the doorbell.
Maybe it's the cops because he's killed so many people. Alex comes to eventually. He was not dead, just passed out. At the store, Satan puts random sharp implements, rope, and tape in the buggy. and lets Dougie pick out whatever candy, however much candy he wants. They go to the register, get everything rung up, bagged up, and just walk out. They leave without paying. The lady at the register is looking all bewildered. The bag boy is asking them, "What the heck are y'all doing?"
No.
Satan just keeps walking.
But it was even before that. I mean, it took Dougie to go, "What? We're not going to pay?" Like,
Dougie's like, "What? We're not going to pay? All right, let's do this."
And then, then the cashier and the bag boy just realized that, oh, we never asked for money. They just did everything. And
so the bag boy follows them out. All the way out of the building. They walk all the way out of the building, all the way to the back of the building before the busboy catches up with them. They had just gave each other, that "we're awesome, high five." The bag boy comes up to him and said, "I don't know what you think you are and what kind of plan you have, blah, 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 blah." Satan reaches into the bag, grabs a knife, pulls it off of the packaging.
Which is like the easiest way that,
this movie didn't happen in no 2000s when they started putting that twisty tie on everything.
And it looked like a paring knife too. It's like he's fooling around with a paring knife.
And Dougie said, "You don't want to mess with him. He'll gut you." And sure enough, that's what he did. He shoved a knife in his stomach, pulled it up, and then right there beside them was a dumpster. So he just flipped him into the dumpster, shut the dumpster, and they went on about their merry way like they didn't even miss a beat. And on their way.
But that leads up to our first kill rating.
Yep.
So what do you rate it?
Can't skip that.
What do you rate it as?
Well, it was just a knife kill, so it wasn't anything fancy. But the flip into the dumpster, that was creative.
Yeah.
I give it 2.5.
I give it a 1.5. I think it was just too basic. It was just too basic. But it does serve a moral tale. Don't fall out, people. Just let them go. Just let them go.
Call the cops.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Hey, there's a guy walking around in a Satan mask with a little red kid. A little red kid? A little kid that's dressed in red. I'm pretty sure he's easy to find.
Yeah. And, so, let me find my place again. So Dougie climbs into the buggy, and they proceed to hit people with the cart. A pregnant woman.
And here Dougie is screaming at, again, points. He's like, 50 points.
Well, Dougie yells out how many points each person is worth.
I mean, and this pregnant lady, when she hit that cart, she went a-flying.
She went airborne.
Yeah.
So, she must have been light on her feet, that pregnant lady. They hit her, they hit an old lady, or an old man, I can't remember which one it was.
Maybe. Blind person, I think a priest.
They hit several people with that cart.
The priest one was sort of funny.
And then Dougie was like, "So, can we go home and go trick-or-treating now?" He was like, "That was fun, let's go trick-or-treating."
Although he has like 20 bags of candy in his thing.
He goes to an old lady's house, and Satan rings the doorbell. And she's like, "I'm coming, give me a minute." Like, she could barely walk. She was using a walker.
And she was across the room on top of it.
And she says, "Well, aren't you a little too old to be trick-or-treating?" And he keeps ringing the doorbell. He waits for her to get right up to the door. And then as soon as she unlatches the door, he pushes the door open and flings her across the room. He hangs her from an upstairs window to where she's hanging over her front porch. Literally hangs her. Takes all of her prescription drugs. Is that all he stole from her?
I think so, yeah. It was just the prescriptions, and he hung her from the front porch. And again, Dougie just thinks it's the coolest thing ever.
He thinks it's a joke. He doesn't realize it's real.
And then the kids who are like bullying him, they're like, they realize that is not real?
Yeah, they think they're psycho. Alex goes to his dad's house.
Oh, so I forgot. Kill rating. What do you call that? What do you... The
old lady?
Yeah.
I give it like a 3.
I give it like a 2. it really didn't do much for me. It was just...
I thought it was funny when he hit her and she like flew in the air and...
Yeah, I mean, up to it, but I mean, just the hanging part was just sort of like, meh. You know, they didn't really even show her all that. I thought the whole sort of scene was funny because, you know, she's walking on that walker and just pouring candy out.
Yeah.
It's just like a trail of candy. And she's just screaming, hold on! And you're thinking, why don't you have a chair right next to the door? Or
I'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
You don't need this candy. You already got cavities.
I have pennies. Do you want pennies?
Alex goes to his dad's house. Dougie and Satan continue on their route of destruction. They go to Alex's dad's house. Satan knocks out Nicole, who is Alex's dad's girlfriend, and throws his dad through the glass door. The police catch up to them and tell Satan to step away from the boy. Dougie goes back home. The boys that tease him came to get candy, so he gives them candy that is tainted with medication. The doorbell rings, and it's Satan.
But I sort of like want to think that she probably had like medication for like shingles, so those kids might not have shingles.
No, Satan went through and gave him the medication to put in the medicine that would like make him have diarrhea and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
He locks the door again. She says it's not funny anymore. Say something. She looks down and realizes he has shoes on. Did I skip something?
Yeah, you did.
I skipped something. No, I didn't.
Well, seems like you did.
The doorbell rings and it's Satan.
Yeah.
Okay. Satan comes in and locks the door again. Jenna meets him at the door and tells him this isn't funny anymore. Well, she looks down and she realizes that he's come in the house and he has shoes on.
And okay, so
and Alex, you explain.
Okay, so Alex's like stepmom or whatever.
His dad.
Well, his dad had married this chick. I don't know, dated this chick for a while or whatever. And he said that like they went to Asia, and then ever since they came back from Asia, he wasn't allowed to wear shoes in the house, and it was beaten in his head that he couldn't wear these shoes. So every time, and you see him like at the beginning, taking off his shoes as they're talking, and they look like boots anyway. So, and these were sneakers and gaiters.
Yeah, so any time before he would even enter the threshold of a house, he would stand in the foyer before and take his shoes off. And Satan walked in the house, locked the door, and proceeded to do whatever with his shoes on. Mm-hmm. So that gave it away to Jenna that this was not Alex.
But I mean, up to that, but before that, she thought it was.
She thought it was definitely Alex.
Yeah, because they sort of had this like moment, and he was playing with those melons.
Yeah, he was squeezing her boobs.
Yeah, and all that stuff, and she was like, "Oh, Alex, it's not funny." Oh, you know, like.
Yeah.
And then she realized, oh crap, this is not Alex. So
her boyfriend does not wear shoes inside. So now she knows Satan is not Alex. Her dad comes home and thinks the whole thing is a big joke. Dougie yells, "Satan come," and spill his guts out. And so Satan came into the room and stabs his dad and pulls his intestines out and ties them to the dining room chair.
Well, before that, though, they play this like impromptu game of hide and go seek with Alex's sister, and so Satan is just like chilling out in the basement, which I guess is connected to the front door. I'm not sure like how this house is set up at all.
No, it doesn't really give a lot of detail about that.
And so that's how Satan pops out of the door and cuts into him. Now this one I give a 4 out of 5 kill scene, because what I liked about it is that he literally grabbed the intestines and like tied them up and stuff like that, and he was like playing around. It's like, ooh, looky what I have. So, yeah.
You got too much pleasure out of that. So, everybody screams. Dougie says, I didn't mean it. He thought this whole time it was all pretend. Jenna tries to call the cops, but there was no answer. Satan grabs Jenna's mom and takes off. Alex finally shows up.
Well, they were, like, getting ready for this, like, whole, like, her mom and her dad were supposed to go to this big hoodoo.
Big party, yeah.
Big party. And she's dressed as this, like...
Chiquita banana chick.
Chick, yeah. So...
Alex and Jenna think it is Billy Flannery, who is a guy that's just in trouble with the law a lot in their local area, and he was on the news earlier that day.
Yeah, because he said he was a convicted arsonist, and he said he was saved. Mm-hmm. So that was sort of like the red herring.
They think who is playing Satan because the news station burned down and all of the cops were killed and...
The police station. Like, there was only, like, 2 cops at one point in the entire town.
So Satan and Jenna's mom go to the party. They go inside and she is taped up. She can barely walk. So she walks into a banister and falls down. Dougie prays to God to send Satan back to hell.
Well, okay, so it was sort of funny because, like, I don't understand how she could be friends with, like, half the people at the party because they ridiculed her. I mean, it was, like, the cruelest thing ever. And here she is, like, bound up in, like, tape or, I thought, saran wrap there for a while, you know, like...
All of the police officers that he killed, he just wrapped their whole heads in saran wrap until they suffocated to death.
Yeah.
Which is really smart. I mean, it's cheap. It's easy. You just bound their hands and wrap their heads in saran wrap.
Yeah. And he bound her, so he bound up the mom, and she was, like, hopping around, and everybody was just, like, you know, doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. Like, again, half the people in this movie were just, like...
Oblivious
to everything.
Yep, they were stupid. So, little Dougie prays to God to send Satan back to hell. The doorbell keeps ringing. Jenna and Alex break into the costume shop to get a costume so they can go to the party.
And they pop out, and it's Big Bird's lover and Puka Orga.
There's some kind of reject, what do you call them things?
Mascot outfit?
Mascots, there you go. Satan puts Drano in the punch at the party.
It's not Drano, it's Drango.
Drano's reject cousin?
Yeah.
Alex and Jenna get to the party as people are keeling over.
Okay, so he puts it into the punch, right? Mm-hmm. And people are drinking the punch, right? With Drano or Drango.
Yeah, and they're like, this tastes funny. I think I'll keep drinking it because I'm not quite sure if I like it or not.
But I don't know about you, but when I crack open a nice bottle of Drano, I take it up to my nose and go, that's the greatest smell I've ever smelt.
Let's drink it.
Yeah, I am parched. I want to know what this tastes like. You know, at no point.
Well, it's not straight Drano. It's mixed with sugar and all.
I know, but you think that you could smell
the toxins.
Yeah, smell that lovely toxic smell that is drain declogger.
Smell the acid.
And yeah, and they're like, oh, this doesn't taste right, but I'm gonna keep drinking it anyway because duper.
Sometimes I'm glad that we are very particular about what we eat and drink. It's gonna keep us alive one day.
So that leads us to our other kill count. The party. I give it a 4 out of 5 because they all deserve to die because they're just that stupid. I want to know, but like, too, what he did did he put it back underneath the table? Like, did he put the Drano underneath the table, or was he just? I just want to think that he's like actually holding it and just going right before they died. You know, just holding it and like pointing at it and going, "That's what you guys drink."
He could have been standing over the punch with the Drano
Yeah.
And pointing from the Drano to the punch, and people still wouldn't have. They still would have been going, huh?
Yeah,
Okay. Alex and Jenna get to the party as people are keeling over. Satan puts one last piece of tape on Jenna's mother over her nose and pushes her into the crowd of dancing people.
Well, okay, so he noticed Jenna because of one thing.
The same thing Jenna noticed about him. The shoes.
Yeah, because at no point did she go, man, these hills are killing me.
Yeah, she couldn't give up the shoes. The woman couldn't give up the shoes. She was wearing a daggum Tweety Bird looking bird costume, but had to keep them daggum pink heel shoes on.
Yeah.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, it was just whatever. Running around chasing Satan.
So he pushes her into the crowd. Jenna finally gets to her and gets the tape off of her face. Then she goes and gets the car. Alex goes after Satan. Satan takes the gun from him and shoots himself in the hand. Just to show him what level crazy he is. I'll take your gun. I won't shoot you. I'm going to shoot myself in the hand. This is next level crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Then hands the gun back to Alex. Jenna drives to Alex's dad's house and Satan is there. Jenna takes the gun. She tells Satan to get down on the ground. Alex takes the gun and shoots him. He removes the mask. Jenna tells Alex, don't blame yourself. She says, we need to go home, get Dougie. Dougie gets a guest at the door, and it's Jesus.
Well, okay, so let's back up to the him shooting that guy. So he not only just shoots him once or twice, no, he unloads the mag into him. You know, he makes him look like Swiss cheese. So Dougie is like, they take off the mask, and they're like, who is it? Then you find out who the real identity of Satan is. All the way, it's Mr. Jenkins.
It wasn't Dougie, it was Alex.
Or
Dougie's
Alex.
a little boy.
It's Mr. Jenkins, the guy who pumps gas at the gas station you see in the first scene.
No, you have no clue as to who Satan is.
No,
it's nobody.
It's a Scooby-Doo reference.
I know what you're doing.
No, and okay, so I think it's the dad. I mean, you couldn't really tell because it was like dark and it smashed the...
It was not the dad. It was a really, really old fat man.
Well, okay, fine. But
the dad is a character that has played in many movies before.
But he's just sitting there lamenting the guy. Like, just like, maybe it's because I killed a guy. I don't know. But it's just like, that's what he does for the rest of the movie, for the most part. You don't have to show me out.
Everybody wants to know. So we were at... Dougie gets a guest at the door, and it's Jesus. Dougie asks if Jesus wanted him to follow him. Dougie tells Jesus to go get Satan.
Okay, so let's just talk about this Jesus character. Again, it's another man in a mask.
Yes, it is another individual in a costume.
And you're the real Jesus is because the guy holds out his hand and
there's a hole in his hand.
And Dougie, like, is that real blood? And, you know, he, again, doesn't talk, and Jesus is like, yeah. Well, I mean, Jesus nods, yeah, it's real blood. You know, like, and then he brings him back in, and he's like, well, Satan's been terrorizing us. You know, like.
Yeah. So. And Dougie said, you're like Satan. You don't need to talk, do you? And the Jesus figure shakes his head no, and Dougie just fills in the blanks.
Good old Dougie.
Dougie needs a spanking. So...
I think that's the understatement of the movie. Dougie needs a spanking.
Dougie needs to be grounded for a long, long time. Dougie told Jesus to go get Satan. I will make sure he doesn't get my sister. Jenna is driving down the road and stops to pick up Dougie. Jenna asks Dougie to explain. Dougie explains that Jesus had a wound on his hand. If it isn't Alex, then who is it? Jenna tries to get in touch with Alex to let him know he is not dead, meaning Satan. Satan just turned into Jesus. Satan just turned into Jesus. Alex is at his dad's and Jesus grabs him. Jenna and her mom hear noises in the cellar. So they go down there, armed, and leave Dougie upstairs by himself.
Well, the town isn't just in pandemonium. There is...
Yeah, the whole town is turned upside down.
Because there are no more cops left. I think the prisoners were released from prison. Because there's this weird scene between the devil and a warthog guy in a mask. And it seemed like they knew each other by the way they were like shaking hands or whatever. It's like, whatever. It's like...
I don't know.
Yeah.
So they go downstairs. They leave Dougie upstairs by himself. They go down. One of them has a bat or whatever. Something. No. It was a fire prod, like what you used to...
A fire poker?
Poker, yeah. What you used to,
Poke a fire?
Poke a fire, yeah. And the other one had a chef's knife. And they beat him. Stab him.
Beat him some more. Stab him some more. And just when you think you're done, just make sure you beat him some more and stab him some more.
So they go downstairs in the cellar, and Jesus was down there, and they don't say anything or try to ask any questions. They just go down and attack. They beat him and stab him numerous times. And then when he's no longer moving, then they try to ask questions. Then they remove the mask. Then they realize it's Alex. His mouth was taped shut. And he was put in the costume.
You know what they say? It's just an old saying. Just beat the crap out of somebody and kill them, and then try to ask the dead corpse what's going on.
A helicopter is flying above outside. Dougie goes outside to get its attention. Then a policeman comes to help him. But it's not a policeman. Before he enters, the police sprays paints.
Okay, so he waves down like
Before the policeman enters the house, Dougie's outside trying to wave down the helicopter. He sees a helicopter. He's trying to get the helicopter's attention. Before he enters the house, because Dougie sees a policeman pull up, and he's trying to...
the policeman just sort of walks up. So,
the policeman pulls up, and Dougie's like, oh, you're a policeman, you can help me. My mom and my sister are downstairs. There's a bad man downstairs. I need your help. So the policeman goes to enter the house, but before he goes all the way through the threshold of the house, he sees the address is 66. He pulls a canister of black spray paint out of his pocket, and he spray paints a third 6.
So because the house of the devil.
Underneath the 6s to make it 666 on the address.
And then you see that it's not a real face, but maybe another mask.
Yeah, it looks like a mask.
Yeah.
It looks like he's wearing a mask.
Or he, peeled off somebody else's face and put it... Again, doesn't talk.
No talking. Jenna says, Mom, why will he not say something? Dougie says, he is afraid Satan might hear. Talking about the cop. And that's the end.
So, there's a lot here. I love this movie. I really do.
I really enjoy it too.
It doesn't sound like we do to some extent. I mean, it's just, when you do it, when you break it down, it sounds like the stupidest movie ever. It's like, how could you enjoy this? Because we do. It really is a good, interesting ride.
We're weird like that.
Of a movie. And really, like, okay, so there was supposed to be a sequel to the movie.
Yeah.
From what I found out. I don't think this is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. This was a direct-to-DVD film on top of it. So, their budget was small. I would like to see some sort of, sort of maybe explain who the guy is, or, But I think it's sort of cool, the mystery of it. But what's your final score on this?
I think a 4.
Mine's a 4 out of 5 also. And so the thing I love about it is the beginning is fun. It's a good, interesting romp through insanity. Mm-hmm. And I think where it loses it is probably Act 3. So the beginning and the middle are really good. And I think it's the ending of the film. It just sort of is like, it's going downhill. Like, it just loses its air.
Yeah.
Somehow. It's just... And at points, you're like, okay, I can understand maybe at first with Dougie, because he's supposed to be a 3rd grader. So, I mean, at that age, everybody believes in, I don't know, everybody believes everything, I guess. I don't know. But he's so in, this game mm-hmm. that he thinks is all real. And then, at no point does anybody correct him on this. They all... It seems like they play along, or they're all just stupid. I'm not sure. They never ask, hey, just take off your mask, or it takes them forever to get to this point. And then he keeps falling for the same thing. And okay, so we just got done with Satan being mass murderer. So let's invite this guy who's not talking again in a mask of Jesus. And then let's have this cop that doesn't talk either. At what point do you go, maybe we shouldn't let people in who don't talk?
Yeah, I think the ignorance has to stop somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's just stop letting random people we don't know in our home.
Yeah. So, other than that, I recommend it. And you could watch this over and over again. I mean, I wouldn't do it consecutively, but definitely you could watch it once a year, and it's still pretty fun. So, I recommend it. But that's just us.
Yep, it's something we watch over and over again.
Again, it's one of our lineup movies. So, we'll scare you later.
All right, bye.